Hey, look, Mercury's in retrograde in Leo and until August 11th. And so we're all having a mind that might be too self centered, but let's not get locked into the poison arrows of judging someone's other perspective. Leo energy, and we all have Leo energy. We all do Leo through our sun sign. So we all have that need to be the center of attention. Now, granted, Aquarius maybe would go into their ideals first, love what the causes that they are, and then that's how they maybe at the center of attention. Taurus may do it through their physical vehicle, their money, their values. Gemini through their communication. You get where I'm going with this, right? Well, retrogrades represent the soul getting out of the mind and coming into our hearts. And Leo rules the heart. Each sign is connected to different organs and body parts and all of that. So this Mercury retrograde is to restore, to revisit our authentic intelligence. So Aries does it through play and fun. So you've got 10 weeks to really realign, reassess. Are you having fun yet, Aries? If not, why not? Leo, it's about not allowing people to shame you when you command attention or you dominate a situation. Hey, each one teach one. Okay, Leo? So just because you know how to take up space, just recognize through using that new Uranus and Gemini energy, just ask the questions or pause and say, hey, have I talked too much or whatever? But it's on grown ass people to put you back in the place. It's called co-starring, Leo. And if they don't speak up or if they just absorb and take in, that's their business. And then the last fire sign, Sag, the sages, right? So Leo represents your ethical side. So you might be in some kind of squirrely gray situations right now that you need to revisit. That started almost 2 years ago when Saturn went into Pisces. Because Saturn is your tester, Sagittarius, to make sure that you're living and talking preaching only what you're walking. Oh, you know what I'm talking about. Now, after fire, we go to Earth, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Where Taurus and Leo have a career, home, karma, or intensity. So the Leo retrograde Mercury for you, Taurus, is about, are you treating people in your home environment as well as you do in your career environment? Yeah, take a deep breath, because we know how charming you can be to the stranger, to the boss, to that skirt or pair of pants you're looking at. But you come home and you're non communicative, or you do that passive aggressive, passive joking where we can feel your seriousness, but you kind of play it off. So this retrograde Mercury, that's going to boomerang on you, Taurus, if you're not coming from the heart authentically. As my grandmother used to say, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything. And joking when you really mean it. Come on, Taurus. Grow up. And I don't care if you're in the female body, the trans body, the male body. Using your beauty to get over, at least not right now. And then Virgo. Okay, Virgo, look, you look back at Leo and say, I can't believe I drew that much attention to myself. But let's not go to the other end of the spectrum and self depreciate to a point that you're repelling, Virgo. It's okay to admit and stand by what you do well. And a lot of times that's being exacting and precise about how much you're willing to give freely. So these 10 weeks from June 26th to September 1st is about setting your guilt or shame aside. So when Mercury does go into Virgo, you can really flower and communicate with those projects that you maybe have gotten too busy to prioritize. And Capricorn, I utilize. And you're one of the father signs like Aries. So this Mercury in Leo brings in, how do you parent yourself? How do you shift from Old Testament Jehovah, the one that's was smiting everybody, right? Didn't get along with nobody. And so how do you go into the compassionate, grace-filled side of the Leo, the humility without the humiliation? So that's one of your lessons right now, Cappy, is just having Christmas in July, right? And if Christmas is about goodwill and grace, Capricorn, it begins at home. And then we got fire, we got earth, and then we go air, the human signs, right? So y'all, the Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, you get locked in the mind. And I'm going to start with Aquarius. Ha! Yeah, unexpected. The fool, the joker of the cosmic uh, circle of animals known as the zodiac. So if Leo is as far away from you on the circle, then it's about how you project and how you accept criticism. Because a lot of times, Aquarius, you and nod, but in your well-thinking, kind of quick processor, you're like, I ain't taking any of that criticism in. So it's important to use this Mercury retrograde to come from the heart, but also pause and see what heart energy is being given back to you. You know what I mean? And then Gemini, with Uranus just going into your sign, you may feel more disruptive than usual, like, who am I? Well, go into the Buddhist kind of consciousness piece, that there is no fixed identity. Gemini, you probably love that. But this is the time period to revisit your relationship with your neighbors, your cousins, your siblings, those people that you kind of dismiss as underdeveloped or unintelligent, or, so it's important maybe to ask questions to nourish your spirit and your soul, to figure out why people are the way that they are, not jumping to conclusions. And Libra, oh, graceful Libra, scales. So on one scale, put the ego, put the identity, put your self-interest, and on another scale, put the soul, how we are all connected. And as my favorite Libran, Tavish Carter of Our Raw Material talks about, is one of her questions is when did you recognize and start to live from a separate perspective or a separate existence? Because the soul ain't going for that, Libra. But this Leo energy, these 10 weeks, about you realigning with your larger inclusive intention. Pillar 11 in Our Raw Material. And certainly, last but not least, the water element. Oh, God, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, we yearn, right? There's a love element. So this fire of Leo is about how and why and when and what's the love about? Is it absolute? Is it not being quantified or measured? It's not a commercial bargain. It's not transactional. As Yogananda used to say, love is not a commercial bargain. And so Cancer, the Leo 10 weeks, represents your values, your groundedness, your pragmatic sense that, spend a little bit on what you would like, or just realign your relationship to how you define and live prosperity from a prosperous motivation. And Scorpio, like Taurus, Leo is a career home energy. So I know that as a solar Scorpion, that this time of year is almost always more expansive around my career and my getting the name out, and but also helping or serving people who are a little bit behind me on the path. And from the soul's perspective, there is no ahead or behind. That's all ego identity. So this is a good time for all of us Scorpios to give grace to others, to recognize that sometimes the suffering that we perceive in the world, in our relationships, is about our just adding just a little bit of the water or the oasis, the pure water, if we're talking about a desert kind of situation. And I love to say, we think of compassion as external, we forget that compassion is internal, that we also start from home, giving like charity and compassion at home. And Pisces, let's breathe, right? So Leo is where you whistle while you work. So 7 dwarfs, but you're both Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. And yeah, you got about 7 different personalities, or because you're the shapeshifter. So the Mercury retrograde in Leo is about fixing or concentrating your spirit upon your virtues of inclusiveness and joy. Yeah, Pisces. And if there is negativity, just know that that's the only right you have, is to not be negative. And again, back to the grandparent statement, if you can't say or even think something, positive, to just kind of get to the root of where that comes from. So I hope this helps, and I'll probably be writing about Mercury and Uranus and all of that coming up. Thank you and enjoy.